All right, this is Robert Newman. I'm here with Pam Dent. And this is kind of a dry topic, but as a professional digital marketer who specializes in residential real estate, I think that everybody would be surprised to learn that one of the most popular pages on every website I ever build has to do with property taxes. It's just something that almost everybody who is doing research examines when they hit a site. So we've built a site that for you that focuses on Charlottesville. You have a Charlottesville, Virginia website, and we talk about Charlottesville property taxes on that website, right? So on that site, the taxes are already here. So it says 0.087% average effective property tax rate in Charlottesville, 0.80% average effective property tax rate in Virginia, 1.8% national average property tax rate. I don't even know what that means, so I'm gonna have to. We'll skip that for a second. But here's what I want to know. Charlottesville is a general trend comparatively to everywhere else. So, well, let me rephrase. You lived here. You've lived here a long time. You're on the association. Again, I'm going to confuse it. It's Association of Realtors for Charlottesville, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So this comes up, right? City ordinance, laws, states, property tax. This stuff comes up for you. Is that correct?
It certainly does.
Okay. And first of all, as a trend, because we didn't cover this in the blog, as a trend, where do you see, where have property taxes gone in Charlottesville?
Well, what happens is they are renegotiated, the locality each year will, and the county government, as they are setting their budget, will talk about whether they're going to, and taxes never go down, whether they're going to raise those taxes to enable them to meet the budget. And you will find in, say, the county, they may have the option to target and try to bring in more businesses and to get a greater portion of their budget from that. In the city, you are restricted by the amount of land, so they're probably not going to be able to bring in more businesses. They may not be able to build more houses. So again, how are they going to meet that budget in order to stay solvent and do the things they need to do? So that may necessitate, bumping up those property taxes. So one of the things when you're looking at tax rates is generally for whatever year it is, you may not know till March or April whether that is going to change by a few cents per hundred or not.
Okay. And so just to put a number to this, which is on the blog, but some people prefer to watch or listen as opposed to read, or they have time to watch and listen as opposed to read. So in Charlottesville, the national average for property tax is 1.08%. Charlottesville actually, the state of Virginia, the property tax, and if I get any of this wrong, just say that we did. This article was written about 6 months ago. The tax rate is just 0.80%, so it's less than 1%, which is lower than the national average by 1/4 percentile.
Yeah, and those figures are off a little bit for Charlotte. Albemarle County is, I think, more about 0.84, and the city of Charlottesville is closer to 0.94. Okay. So the city and county are different, and then all the surrounding counties are also different, and this is percent per $100 of assessed value. So you've got to know what that property assesses at to be able to calculate the taxes for it. And again, some areas things are reassessed on a yearly basis, some it may be 2 years.
Okay. So you've raised a couple of questions. Number one, actually, since the time this article was written, the tax rate in Charlottesville specifically has gone up by 1/6 of a single percentile. So it was at 0.87 and now it's at 0.94. So is it common to get raised each and every single year?
Not always. Some years it will stay the same, but I'm going to say we don't see it going down.
Sure.
And yeah.
Let's talk about assessment then. All right. So you own a piece of property, and you've owned many over the years here in Charlottesville, right? Owned homes and sold homes, and I'm not talking just as a professional. I'm talking about you personally, right? So when somebody comes out to assess your house, and it deals specifically with property tax, do you feel like these assessments, right? Like the average property price is supposed to be $296,000. We both know that the properties that we've been looking at are probably hover more between $400 and $600. Would you say that's fair?
Yes.
On the average side.
And where it's gone is the median property price has raised, I think, and this is for, I think where you're getting is they're lumping single family detached and attached and everything together. I'm gonna say, Albemarle County median for detached is gonna be considerably higher. In the city, you're gonna be definitely out of the 200s.
Okay. How is that gonna work when somebody comes out and does the assessment?
Okay, the way the assessments work, this is another thing to remember, because sale price and assessment may be two different things. And that assessor, when a home is first built, they will go through the house. Succeeding years, if that home has, say, maybe not sold for 12 years, that assessment may not really reflect what that home is like. Nobody's been in there. Often assessments are adjusted, particularly with homes in neighborhoods. That assessor will give that home a ratio. And all those homes will fluctuate in their assessed values by that neighborhood ratio, which works pretty good if this was a neighborhood of similar homes, all built by the same builder, built at the same time. It does not work so accurately if it's not real homogeneous. And so over time, those assessments can, skew pretty far away from the property value. So we will look at it as one way to look at value, and we may look at what percentage of assessed value similar homes are selling for, rather than looking at that exact assessed value, if that makes sense. So
let's just be straight. I think everybody, myself included, it's not so much you're trying to dodge taxes, but hey, if you have a choice, you're going to say, let me pay on the low side of whatever it is I owe. I think everybody is probably feeling that way. So you have a home in a community, you've built up on it, you've built that home up, and if nobody else has in your neighborhood, you're probably going to come out a winner from what you're telling me on assessed taxes, right? You're going to probably pay, like if you did $200,000 worth of work and your home was originally assessed at $6,000, it might be assessed at $650 even though it's worth $850. Am I understanding you correct?
That could happen, and where that is great while you own that home and you're paying taxes. What happens is you get ready to sell that home, and the buyers may go online to see what the assessed value is. And they're going, well, why this home assesses for $400,000? Why are these people selling it for $600,000? And then you've got to go, well, they finished the basement and the assessment really doesn't reflect that. And of course the home buyers didn't go back to the assessment and say, gee, my home should be assessed higher so I pay more taxes. But when they come back to sell the home, sometimes that really low assessment can hurt them. And buyers should also know that when they buy, and then there's this home that's been being taxed at the basis of $400,000 and they're buying it for $650,000, then that sale price is going to be noted in the county, and their next assessment could go up based on what that home sold for, and it might not go up as high as that sale price, but it could.
Okay, so now let's get into the mechanics a little bit. So I am not blessed enough to be a homeowner, so I literally don't know how this works in any state, let alone your state. But my understanding is, so you're assessed at 0.87%. Let's just call it 1% to make the math easy. You have a home worth $500,000, which means you owe a tax bill at some point of $5,000. Do I have that basically right? No?
Yeah,
Yes?
well, you could. I didn't do the math either, so, but
Okay.
we'll say you do, just
Okay.
for easy math.
So how hard or easy it is to pay that property assessment tax here in Charlottesville? Is it difficult? Can you just submit it online? Like, how complicated is it? Do they let you make payments? You have to pay it quarterly, once a year? Like, how does that work?
My property taxes bill comes twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen if I could do some sort of payment system. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And there may be for seniors or some need-based breaks that you could apply for. I think there probably are some things like that out there, how easy there are to qualify. And again, they're need-based, so.
Sure. So let me reverse back a little bit. Your bill gets sent to you twice a year. For you personally, you just pay it when you get it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got like 6 weeks before it's due.
Okay. And then you send it in and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just send a check in or you can take it down to the courthouse.
Okay. Well, that has definitely answered all of my questions, but I am definitely not the primary person that might be having all the great questions about property tax. This is a very popular blog, like as I started the article, Pam, this is a very popular topic, even on your blog, on Find a Home in Charlottesville. So everybody that might be watching this video or watching this as part of this blog post, if you have some questions about these property taxes, especially if you're coming in from outside the area, and just want to know how the situation is going to work, like basically, because obviously we're not talking about a large amount of money when you start talking about a quarter of a percentile or less than 1% that gets raised every year. But still, I know that some people like to do a lot of research just so that they feel prepared as they move from one place to the next. Leave a comment on the blog. Pam will be happy to try to address the question for you, right?
I absolutely will.
And failing that, if for some reason you feel like your question is not appropriate for the blog, just message her using the contact form and she'll get back to you.
Absolutely. There are no stupid questions, and always glad to help.
Perfect.